Hey everybody, it's Kneecap here, and in this video we have a player housing update that kind of dropped out of nowhere. So we're going to go through this information and I'll kind of, give some context and, what it's saying, and of course my thoughts on it as well. This is kind of out of nowhere, and it's a decent amount of information, honestly. So they released an article previously that talked about their guiding principles and how it was going to work and everything, and it was generally well received. They talked about the neighborhoods and stuff like that. So this is just getting a little bit more specific on a few specific things, probably trying to hype it up for some people. And a lot of these things are going to be well-liked things, if not all of them. So setting up the guiding principles, a progressive journey. So this is a journey. You're not just going to go to a vendor and buy everything immediately. You're going to have to unlock things. Oh, I have to do this achievement. I have to do this. And then I unlock this thing that I want. And so it's just a little thing for people. There's going to be some people who don't care about this, of course. But for those of us who do care about it, there's going to be stuff for you to go and do and unlock it and then be able to craft it and then, do all these steps and kind of, work towards what you want to get, which of course, that's what I would want, right? Now, that's not going to be everybody, but that's what I want. I want to oh, wow, I put effort into this. So now, and it looks cool. And now I'm proud of it kind of thing, right? People don't want to say they're proud of stuff in a video game, but I think that's fine. I mean, it's fine to be proud of stuff. Obviously maybe you should be more proud of stuff not in a video game, but it's fine to be proud of stuff that you do. Core gameplay with variations. So similarly, we want to reward decor at a wide variety. This is just basically saying whether you are, regardless of what kind of content you're doing, there's going to be decor that's rewarded through that content. So Mythic Plus, raiding, PvP, but also open world activities, achievements, transmogs, doing old raids, doing old dungeons, probably pet battles, probably a little bit of everything, maybe some Dark Moon Fair decor, right? So basically they're trying to put it into everything, which again, a smart move. Reverence for the past. Now this one's big for me. So I am not a Classic Andy, but I did start playing in Classic, and I do have reverence for the past, despite not liking that version of the game very much anymore because of where I'm at in my life. But I do have reverence for the past. So I love the idea of unlocking decor from things that you did in the past or something you have from the past. I think that's really, really cool, actually. So I love to see that's like a main thing that they're focusing on. And again, they mentioned some of you have been playing for 20 years. And so, yeah, and they want your time spent to feel worthwhile. Like, okay, I did this 17 years ago and now I get to have this cool thing in my house or whatever. It just lets you show off a little bit. Again, kind of like a proudness feeling, right? And if you've been playing for 20 years, the reality is you probably are proud of some of the stuff you've done. And just like I said, that's completely fine. It's about the journey, not the decoration. So this is just going over, how it's going to be more of like an investment to get the stuff like that. Some stuff's going to be super easy to get, like chairs and stuff like that. Other things are going to be more difficult to get. And then they mentioned the trophies. So like trophies are things that you get from like defeating a Mythic Plus boss or a raid boss, like Onyxia's head. That's like a big thing that they've shown a lot in images. So you have to actually defeat Onyxia, get Onyxia's head. Then that'll unlock the Onyxia's head. Then you can craft it or whatever, or buy it or whatever, however you make it, and then put it on the wall or whatever. And so that's like, it's an investment. That's like that's an easy investment now, because I assume you can just go kill Onyxia now at max level and just one shot it or whatever. But that's still, it's still kind of a cool feeling in my opinion. They also mentioned in this section of the article that there's like auction house stuff, so you can buy some stuff off the auction house, meaning like a player could craft it or loot it maybe and then sell it. I think that's really good too. I think that's a wonderful way to get even more people engaged with it. So there's that. And then variety is a spice of life. So this is just again kind of like re-upping on the idea that it's going to come from everything. So it could, like, you want the specific bookshelf, it might come from this weirdly specific thing. Like a particular quest in Pandaria is an example they give, right? Like you have to do specific things to get this specific stuff when you want, the more extravagant or the more rare items, right? Again, I think this is really cool. For me, unfortunately, it means I might have to go back to Mr. Pandaria and play it a little bit, since I didn't play much in Mr. Pandaria. But that's okay. I'm fine with that. And then thanks past self. This is like the reverence to the old stuff. So there's like legacy decor. We're not trying to have the decor equivalent of transmog runs. Like they don't want you to just be farming old raids to get stuff. We're still working through what it means in practice? Is it only available during time walking, for example? Is there something more deterministic we can do? But the thought of someone farming a mount for years across multiple characters every week, finally earning it, and then being like, well, I have to go back and grind for this couch is rough. We'd like to avoid this. So maybe a deterministic way to do it as well. Who knows what they'll go there. If there is a deterministic way, that it will be min-maxed and there will be like a meta way to do things. So that kind of is a bad thing. But I think there's tons of interesting things that they could do with this, but I don't think any of them are really practical that come to my mind first. Like, for example, like, oh, you want a Nixia's head? Here's a scaled up version of a Nixia you have to go fight, right? Unless you defeated it in the current time or whatever. Obviously, they're not going to be able to do that for every single boss or every single encounter or whatever. But that would be a cool way to do it, to where you're not just farming it. You're like, oh man, and then if you do that, of course, you make it like 100% drop rate or like a very high percent drop rate. If you were to do that, but again, they're not going to be able to do that. That's too much work. It just is. There's too many bosses over 20 years to do that. Trust me, I'm a professional, so this is an interesting one. So basically, you're going to be able to craft some certain things. So like blacksmiths will be able to craft some like metal stuff, and enchanters will be able to craft magical stuff, like floating books is an example they give. And so you'll be able to craft stuff. And what's important in this is crafting could be important based on each expansion as well. So you might have to craft something from Classic, or you might have to, or from Vanilla, whatever. You might have to craft something from Burning Crusade, from Wrath of the Lich King. And so you actually need to level your profession if you're going to do this, right? In theory, you'd be able to buy some of this stuff on the auction house as well. But if you were going to do this, you would actually need to make sure that your crafting is leveled up in each expansion. And so older materials could even become more viable when this comes out as well, which is very interesting. Honestly, if you want to make a long-term investment, just if you level up a character or something by only mining or only herbal, probably mining in this case, blacksmithing would probably be more than alchemy or something, but level up character only by mining, put all the copper, all the tin, all the fell iron, everything you get, just put it into a bank or a warband storage or something, and see if the cost of mats skyrockets when this comes out. That's definitely a possibility there, depending on how easy or hard they make them to craft or whatever. If it costs a lot of materials, the materials will go skyrocketing. If it does not cost very many materials, it probably won't have as much of an effect. But it is a very interesting thing here. I like this a lot. This is reverence for the past right here. Being able to craft stuff even like with your old professions, right? That is cool to me. And then just some light housekeeping here. We'll read through some of these. Decorations are only placeable if you have enough of them. So they're basically saying like you don't just unlock an item and then you can just get to place infinite of them. So it's basically just it's just like extra steps. They're trying to make it feel realistic, kind of is kind of my takeaway from this. So like if you unlock a chair, you don't just get to put down 60 chairs. You have to build 60 chairs and place 60 chairs or whatever. Like you don't just get to have infinite of everything. Basically, it's not really like The Sims. It costs money, right? Like I think I haven't played Sims for 20, 30, or I don't even know, 20 some years probably when I was a little kid. And but I think it costs like money to place stuff in The Sims or something. So there's not money in this case. In this case, it's just like you have to actually build it and then place it, right? It's like a little bit of a thing, so you don't just have infinite of everything. Now, of course, you can play in a game like The Sims. I think you can play with like free mode or something like that. But I like this personally. It feels more real. I like that. Not everybody will. On the flip side, there's a concept of unique decor. So this is just saying, like, we use the example of Nixia's head. They're using examples of Nixia's head here. You can only place like one of those in your house. It doesn't make sense that you have 10 of a Nixia's head, even if you've killed a Nixia 10,000 times. It doesn't make sense to have 10 of them in your house. And so again, trying to make it realistic. That's kind of a theme I've seen here, which I like. You'll mention housing specific activities earlier, neighborhood specific activities, ... So there's going to be like neighborhood achievements, that if you didn't hear anything previously about the previous article, there's going to be neighborhoods you can go in. It's like 50 people or something like that, or 40 people, some amount of people. And a lot of these will be like guilds or communities or whatever. And then you'll have a neighborhood and you can do an activity together in the neighborhood to unlock an achievement or something, like maybe you have to build a certain amount of stuff or decorate a certain way or something like that. And then there'll be specific stuff from that as well. So literally all types of content, even the new content itself, can award the decor. And then they end it with, we're committed to ongoing release of new decorations, going both backwards into previous expansions as well as forward into new ones. What do you want to see? And so that's a good question to leave it on. I have tons of things. I might do a video of like the things I want to see in housing, right? I might just do a video about that to give my own personal feedback. But yeah, that's something I'm very interested to talk about, because there are lots of things that I would like to see. Very interesting things, actually, especially with the reverence to the past thing. A lot of my stuff will be like reverence to the past. There should be something for this. There should be something for this, from like old quests, old anything, old dungeons, old whatever, right? I think that would be really, really cool. So, yeah, that's the housing news. Again, for me, it was pretty much all positive, but I did note, some of the things that other people might not be as into as I am, as far as like maybe they don't want it to be realistic, or maybe they don't want it to, maybe they want it to be even easier and infinite and stuff like that. I could see other people having a different take than that on that than me, but this is exactly how I would want to do it. So if I was designing it would be very similar to this, right? I don't know exactly, but it would be very, very similar to this. So I am loving this update. And honestly, again, this isn't something that I'm normally that into, and the reality is I'm not gonna spend a ton of time doing it, but it's setting up that I'm gonna like it way more than I initially thought I would, or care about it more than I thought I would. So I'm super positive with it. But yeah, we'll end this video here. Like I said, I think I might do a video of the things that I want to see as like a feedback video. But yeah, as always, please subscribe to the channel. That helps me out a lot. If you're already a subscriber, I encourage you to check out the Patreon. And other than that, everybody, have a good one.